Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Panos Yozos. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of LearnWorlds. I would like to welcome you to this e-learning webinar of ours, Analytics for E-Learning. This is a very practical, hands-on workshop where we'll be showing some examples, cases, queries, and answers and reports that you can build on your e-learning school and how you can base your decisions, your insights, your instructional design, your marketing decisions based on structural data. And also we have an amazing speaker, Nicholas from LinkedIn Learning, who will speak about how they use data and what kind of data facilities they have built within the LinkedIn Learning application. So this is going to be both insights for you from a great company with very well-known, excellent usage of data for decision making, and also we will be showing live our own new tool, the Course Insights, and help you to make decisions based on that. So for me and my team here, we have Sarah, who worked a lot on preparing this presentation. We have Brett, we have Elisa, we have Stella helping us on the chat. And for all of us, it's a great pleasure to have you here, to have all those course creators, training organizations, HR managers, instructional designers, also different roles working with e-learning now. It's great to have all these people and all the insights you're bringing into the table, and we're looking forward into getting your questions and being able to help you in the process. So continuing with our presentation, just to set the stage, the table for what will happen in today's presentation, to set up our, let's say, our compass for this presentation. It's always important to remember what is the current setting and to remind ourselves of what our purpose is as educators and as entrepreneurs. We are amidst a global pandemic, a global disaster that, on the other hand, really spurred e-learning, and now it has been very much established that the future of learning is online. Lots of you are probably transitioning right now or have already transitioned into online learning. So it's the best possible period to get into new ventures, test new features, use new applications, and also taking business decisions that will drive your business for the year ahead. So now we are lucky as educators and as entrepreneurs to be in a position to help our communities. COVID is a global disaster. We all of us hope that it will go away very soon, but in the meantime, we have to prepare ourselves, we have to prepare our communities, our businesses, in order to be able to adapt to the situation and to be able to offer to the broader community. So some of the goals that we are here to help you achieve is how to attract and retain students for our businesses, how to widen participation in e-learning. E-learning is one of the major transformational powers out there. Education is an amazing catalyst for change and transformation. So it's important to widen participation and in this space to improve learner outcomes, improve course effectiveness, and also maintain and improve reputation as businesses and as influencers, as experts, as professionals. So this is the moment for e-learning to shine and for e-learning to deliver its promise and be able to transform the way we do business, the way we learn, the way we go forward. I cannot imagine a future, even when luckily all this thing is behind us. I cannot imagine a future where a business will take 200, 300, 500 employees or associates or customers and get them into a hotel for 5 hours of PowerPoint. The future of learning has changed, I think, irrevocably. The future of learning is online, and we are here to discuss today how we can use data in the best possible way to take data-driven decisions, to use all those insights in order to progress our learning and achieve the objectives of our businesses. So let me. So the agenda for today, just to remind you that this presentation will take about 2 hours. We're gonna make it very, very interactive and engaging. So in the first part, we will talk about, we will just briefly, very briefly introduce you into LearnWorlds, and then we will talk about how you can use e-learning data, e-learning signals from your online school, from your online courses, and turn them into actionable insights, and how to turn insights into decisions that will help you drive your business forward. And then, so we'll show you some the actual usage of e-learning analytics tools within an online school setting. And the next thing is our esteemed guest from LinkedIn Learning, who will discuss about how they use data and the tools that they use internally to drive and promote learning. So a very brief introduction into LearnWorlds. LearnWorlds is effectively an e-learning business in a box, or you can also say that it's a Shopify for online courses. It's a platform that an all-in-one platform that help you create knowledge products or online courses, helps you share or sell them through your own website, and helps you manage and grow your audience. So it combines the presentation, the e-learning website that you need in order to present your online courses, the e-commerce tools that you need to share more of your online courses, and also the learning delivery, the actual learning management side, where you will be delivering your content and your courses, self-paced courses, recorded courses, video courses, or even live courses, and where you will be able to manage your audience. So our goal is to take away the complexity so that you don't have to deal with the technical aspects or the design aspects of managing an online school, but you only have to deal with what is important to you, which is creating the best possible online courses, having the data that you need to drive your business, and be able to deliver the best possible online courses to your students. So this is what it's all about. And today we're going to show you just a glimpse of what is possible, mainly focusing on the data how you can interpret, how you can use and interpret the data that can be found within your online school. What is important here to say is that the feature that we will be unveiling today, the course insights, along with our other features, which are the user segments and the user progress, this is an amazing data analytic tool that can help you refine your instructional and commercial offer. So this is the data that you will need to increase user satisfaction, student satisfaction, get more opportunities for upselling and cross-selling of your within your online school. And this is something that every training professional, every course seller understands. Even if you're working in an HR role or in a learning and design role, you understand how important this can be for you in order to have more effective training, to get the right decisions, and to be able, with the best usage of your budget, to be able to get the most out of your training and to get the roles that you need. So so in order to understand a bit what is the context of this presentation, let's say that two questions might come into your mind. The first is whether we're going to just talk about one feature. No, this is not what it's about. We'll just start a deep dive into some of the questions that you usually have as a course seller and course creator, and see how we can use data to answer those questions. So these are questions that we get daily from our users, and this is how this feature was designed. Actually, we're trying to give you the answers that you need in order to run your online school and be able to take the right decisions to grow your online school in this space. And the second thing is whether we're going to use the feature and see how it looks. And yes, we have here two of our experts. We have Brett and also Sarah and Elisa, three experts who will show you how you can get the data within one single easy tool and get the right views and the right approach, so that you can run your online school. So we will show you four actual scenarios building around the data that come from an online school, and how you can take decisions and drive your way to the success of your online school. Effectively, here's a small challenge for you. Here are some questions that we daily get from our customers, or our customers are asking themselves, and probably these are questions that you're having yourself, all of them or some of them. And here's a challenge: whether you are able now to answer these questions about your courses. Of course, we make judgment calls. Of course, we have gut feelings. Expert trainers know how to interact with their students and how to get these answers effectively. Especially if you're teaching within a live classroom, you can read the room, you can see in the eyes of your students what works and what not, and what is the right pace for you, and what is the right tone, and what is the right thing to do. But this is a luxury that we don't have when we're teaching online. So there we have to rely on the data. We have to rely on the digital signals that we get from our customers. And this is not easy to do, especially for humans. It's not easy to manipulate thousands or millions of data points in order to get the right direction. Sometimes our gut feelings fail us there. So we need to be much more careful about the data that we gather, and how we organize this data, how we view this data, and how we base our decisions on this data. Some of the challenges that all teachers, but especially online teachers, face is how can they understand a learner's behavior in an online school? What do your students like or dislike? What do they find challenging? Which are the hard parts? Where do you lose them? Where is a rapid drop-off point, and how you can fix that? Where is the best content that really captivates them and engages them, where they become social and engage with other students? What are some patterns and trends, either of success or of failure, in your online courses, and where you can double down and use the efficient patterns, or discard the patterns that are not working for these courses? So during this workshop, what we will do is show you some actual examples of how these answers can be given based on data, and help you to use this tool yourself, and in order to be able to get your answer, the answers yourself. Let's get started here with some basic analysis of what data is and how we can turn data into insights. So when it comes to data answers, there are usually 4 types of questions that we face, and data help us answer 4 types of questions. The first type of questions are the descriptive questions, which is about what has happened in the past. This is usually the most basic form of analytics, the easiest answers to give. This is a description of what has happened in the past. So we can start by some basic numbers, or by some basic answers. We cannot begin to fix our problems unless we know what happened in our teaching, in our online classroom. So this is the very first things that we should be able to offer. And in many cases, all of the platforms usually offer some kind of tool that allows you to give some basic answers on what has happened. So, for example, you can say that in this quarter you had 10% growth, or last month you got 50 sales, or you got 500 extra students signing up for this course. These are the basic, usually numeric data answers that will that give you a nice overview of what has happened. However, this is not always actionable, and this doesn't always give you the full picture of what's happening. It might satisfy you to a certain extent if you know some numbers, but numbers without being able to drive some insight and drive some decision making, it's not something that can help you in the long term. The second kind of questions that data help us answer is diagnostic, and it's about why something happened. So knowing the what is not always enough. It's never enough. Knowing why something happened is what will allow us to either take corrective action, avoid it if what happened wasn't beneficial, or induce it if what happened is something that we would like to repeat and have a lot of in our school. So how to avoid failure and how to induce success in your school. And this is the kind of analytic that it's much more exciting as a decision maker. You understand, you're going into the root of the problems, you start creating associations between the data, and this is what helps you drive forward your decision making. The next, so you can see that as a hierarchy, starting from the most basic, which is what, then going to the why, and then progressing into more meaningful and more insightful forms of questions that you can answer with your data. The next thing is the predictive, what could happen. So effectively, this helps you get an idea of what could happen in the future, or how events of the past led to some events of the past. So effectively here, you're trying to get some data patterns and some patterns and trends, and based on these trends, you start to anticipate what could happen. So if you influence what has happened in the past, you try to influence what has happened in the future. Again, you might see that how to drive success, how to get more students to complete my course, how to get more students to be satisfied with their course, with their course outcomes, because this will drive more sales in the future. So now we're getting into more powerful decision making, and this is what you or your manager or your boss would like to see, how we can get the basic information, interpret it, and start making some assumptions about what could have happened. And the next thing, the let's say the pinnacle of data-driven decision making, or questions that we are able to answer, is about prescriptive answers. So what should happen? This is what drives most decision making. This is where the power of the data really shows up, to be able to predict the future and be able to structure your interactions in such a way to achieve success within your online school. So this is how we will be using data to go forward. So based on the insights here, we know the information, we know that the difference between data and information. So data insights is knowledge that the company gains from analyzing sets of information based on a specific topic, and analysis of these informations gives us the insight to help us make informed decisions on what we want to do. So instead of risking and trialing and making errors, we try to base our decisions on data. And this is something that we're doing daily as a business. And this is something that all the successful course sellers and course creators increasingly take into consideration when they're making their instructional design or marketing decisions. And the next thing that we want to see is what metrics we need to establish for e-learning, and how to leverage this information in order to strengthen our position within the market. So this is let's say the theoretical part, and these are the things that we're going to see in an actionable way with the course insights, how we can drive certain decisions this way. So, and here is a bit more context about what is an actionable data insight, because not everything might be actionable. So there are 5 main points of when data can become actionable. And here we're talking about relevance. We have many insights that we can get out of a data set, or out of an Excel file, or out of a report. However, unless something is relevant to the problem you're trying to solve, it will not help us. The metrics that we need to choose and the data where we need to focus on needs to be relevant to the problem at hand. Context is very important. we first have to have a baseline of information in order to understand what's happening. So it's important to have the historical context of the metrics, the evolution of the metrics that we are seeing. What is the range of the values? What are the benchmarks in the industry? So what is a right benchmark for, let's say, course completion? What were my previous numbers, and based on this context and based on this history, I can build on top, and I can get more actions out of that. Specificity is also very, very important. The more detailed information we have, the more detailed insights, the more easy will be to get some to be able to take some action, to have something practical that we will be able to act on. Clarity, which is the next step of specificity. Again, highly detailed, specific information will help us establish the right framework for taking decisions, and will help us get the actual help us get the framework for getting our decisions. And then alignment, which is the alignment test has to do with how our questions align with the company goals. So we have to have our KPIs, we have to have our North Star metric. What is it that we want to improve? And based on that, we set the right metrics. We follow the right reports that align with the metrics, so that we're able to take the right decision. So this is kind of the framework that allows us to get from data to insights to actionable insights that we will be able to apply on our job. So in this point here, I would like, let's see if we can make this practical and give the floor over to Sarah and Brett, who will show in an actionable way how some basic questions that we will be able to answer using the customer insights. So let's see if the technical problems have been solved, and whether I can just give the floor over to Sarah and to Brett. So I'm unmuting. I'm making Brett here.
Hey, Panos.
Hello, Brett. Welcome on board.
My image is still locked.
Your image is still locked. Let's see if I can unlock you somehow. I'm making you a host right now.
Okay. Let's see if that works.
I can help you. Is it any better? Let's see if I can also promote Sarah here too.
Can you see me now?
Yes, we can see you. Excellent. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
But we also need Sarah, so I think, let's see if you can, if we can also unlock Sarah. Is it something that you can do?
Let me take a look.
Because I've made you as a host, so I'm not able to do it myself, but we also need Sarah very much.
I can make her a host. Ask to unmute. Sarah, can you hear?
Excellent. Yes.
Hello, Sarah. Welcome.
Can you also see me?
We can see your image.
Oh.
Not your camera yet.
Okay. Says that the host stopped it, but it's okay. So thanks, Panos. Thanks, Brett. As you were saying, we're going to see 7 common queries to start with, and see which data points we need to look at in order to get to our insights. So to do that passage, as we were saying before, from data to insight. Please be aware that these examples that we're going to use here are guidelines. So you will need to find the data points for your query that are in alignment with your goals and relevant to your own business, as Panos, you were explaining before. So let me start with what looks like an easy question, but can be tricky. Brett, which courses your learners love the most?
So that
How
is
do
a
they
good
find
one.
out?
Obviously, there's a couple different areas that we want to look into. We want to look into enrollments. We want to look into the completion rates, and even sometimes the social interaction of our courses. So I'm going to go ahead and actually share my screen here, which it says that you actually need to stop sharing over on your side. So if you want to stop sharing for a second.
Yep.
Excellent. I will go ahead and share my screen over here on the right. So identifying the courses that your users love the most is relatively simple if you look at the right statistics. So to get started, we're actually going to take a look at the top courses over time. Now you can see our top 2 courses. You can see that they have these nice little spider graphs here, and you can see how many enrollments and social interactions and average study time and even the average score of all these courses. Now, most of you are probably saying, well, obviously the number 1 course that's got the most enrollments, the highest social interactions, this must be the most popular course that we have. And it actually, if you look into this a little further, you'll notice a big key factor to this. Look at the success rate of this course. It's 1.85%. That's a very low success rate when it comes to actually completing the course. So although this course has a lot of enrollment and a lot of study time, and there's a lot of people watching the course and interacting with the course, very few of them have actually completed it. So if we actually go back to that main screen there and take a look at our second course here, you'll notice something very different here. The success rate is about a 93.22%. So this is actually a more watched course. There's a lot more interactivity and there's a lot more people completing this course. So higher completion rates can usually indicate that this is grabbing your students' attention. And of course, if we take a look at this course, we can see that our students are much more engaged based off of this success rate number. So even though there are a high number of enrollments here, and we've looked at the completion rate and we've looked at the number of social interactions, we can tell from this success rate that this is the course that people stick with and actually complete. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to bring that back to Sarah to show some additional slides.
Let me start resharing. So Sarah, can we hear from you? Or did we lose Sarah?
I think she muted herself.
Excellent.
Yes, you're here.
I'm back. Okay, thanks, Brett. So we can actually move on to the next question, which is a very hot question, which is, how can I reduce our dropout rate? Probably I can actually say how we can check it first. And for this, we need to deep dive probably in a specific course as well to see it better.
That's correct. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. Now, when you are looking at how you can reduce the dropout rate of your courses, there's a couple of things you want to look at that you can find really easily within the information that we have here. The first would be the dropout rate for the course. And then, of course, we want to look into the learning activity type and the actual study time of the course. So let's just jump back into that course that we saw before. It has a really high enrollment and unfortunately just a really low completion rate. So let's see what's going on there, why there's a dropout rate here, and let's see if we can dig into the information to find out a little bit more. So if I come over here and actually just do a quick search, let's just get an idea of what my dropout rate might be for my users. I can see that the dropout rate of this course is actually 95.7%. So that's extremely high. So there's something going on here. And of course, as we dig into the information, we can find out what. So if we actually go to an activity breakdown here, you can actually see all the different sections that are involved in this course and all the different activities that are here as well. And you can drill into each one of these and actually see, okay, so wait a second here, there is something going on. I'm noticing that many of my viewers aren't really that far off. A lot of these people are watching the video and a lot of them are actually completing it. But what I do notice here is that many of the users here are actually cherry picking. They're going through the course, they're finding particular pieces of the course that they're interested in. They're watching those videos and they're completing those sections and skipping the sections that they don't want to see. So in my mind, to reduce this dropout rate, what we could actually do here is most likely implement something like sequential navigation, where the users don't have the ability to jump around and they have to go in a sequential order. So that would actually help change that dropout rate, eventually drop and bring that down, because right now our users are actually completing these courses. They're just not completing all the different pieces of the course. So that's actually affecting the dropout rate. Okay, now I'm going to stop sharing and bring that back to Sarah.
Great, thanks. So yeah, to make a quick summary, in order to check our dropout rate, we want to look at, well, if we can check it, our dropout rate, which is measured in particular for us as a whether a user has been inactive for over 2 months and has not completed the course, and also they have been enrolled for more than 2 months. So when all these 3 categories are together, we consider it a dropout. So we look at this rate, we look at learning activity types, and we look at study time and difficulty. So like all these data points together can help us see this. If you could just click through, we see the summary of this data point coming up. Well, next, we also want to talk about what should I focus when I want to create new content.
Okay, that's a very
in a way, it's a similar question to the dropout, because we want to see what can I do better. So how can I avoid students dropping out as well? Brett, up to you.
Sure. Just to go ahead and let me share my screen. Okay. So back to our data of the course on the creating online courses with LearnWorlds. So when you are creating new content, sometimes it helps to take a look at old content to understand what types of learning material is actually generating the most interest from our users. So if we actually take a look at student progress, or what we call progress segmentation here. So let's just, there it is, student progress distribution. This is going to let me understand where most of the progress is within my course. Where are most of my students actually completing? And you can see this, we got a little bit of a hockey stick going here. So a lot of the students are sticking with the material at the beginning of this course. And then as we progress, they're beginning to drop off. So my question is, what is the material at the beginning of this course that students are so interested in attending? So if we go to an activities breakdown here, and we start taking a look at some of the sections here, we'll notice that this first section is actually on creating online courses and how to get started. And you see that there's some videos here, as well as information on creating your first course and the course overview and even a course layout page. So this is really all the material here that these users are most interested in. And I think as we moved along into the next sections, we started to see kind of a drop in the total users viewing this. So I think when it comes to creating new content, if we take a look at the old content that we have here, it might make sense for us to start creating courses that dive into this material a little deeper, because this is where our users are most interested. They want to see stuff on creating online courses, how to get started, and the different course players and course types that they can create, and even logos and colors. So this is where I think we should dive in and create more courses around this particular content. Back to you, Sarah.
Great. So always taking from the content, should we discuss also how do I know which activities are the most engaging from an instructional design point of view?
Sure, of course, we can do that. Again, let me go ahead and share my screen here. So many wonderful questions. So in order for us to kind of understand what sections are the most engaging and what are getting the most activity views, are people engaged in our videos? Is there any social interaction involved within those courses? I'm actually going to jump to a different course for this one. So if you just give me a second to move my Zoom window out of the way. Let's go ahead and jump into our sales bootcamp here. So once we're in the course that we want to start looking into, it's always good to understand, in terms of social interactions, are my students involved with this particular course? I think that's down at the bottom here. Give me 1 second. Again, my Zoom window is in the way. So you can see with social interactions, you can see how many posts there are on a particular course. So you get an understanding over time, how involved your students are in a particular course. So that's always good to know. Social interaction isn't the end all to be all, but it is an interesting number to understand, because those courses that you have that have the most interaction with your students, they're most likely the most engaged. So the next thing we want to take a look at, again, is the activities breakdown. So there are a couple different graphs on the activities breakdown page that will actually help us understand what's going on with these particular sections here. And we have, time spent on our learning activities. So this is actually activity by activity. I can see how much time is actually spent on these activities, and the learning activity visits. I can see those over time, as well as my learning activity unique views. So these kind of help me understand what's going on with my audience. I see that, a lot of people are interested in this welcome to boot camp initial video here. So if I open up this section, it looks like I have a lot of views on this particular piece. So maybe we need to understand a little bit more. It's great to know that the video is engaging my students and they're bringing my students, to watch this. But if I want to dive into this information even more and actually pull up information on the video itself, and to see what parts of that video, and I can start to break that down over time and kind of figure out what parts of the video are actually the most engaging for my students. I can see that there is a 54% average engagement, and I have almost 1,500 total plays here with a 20% play rate. I can actually scroll down here and even see how much time members are actually spending on these particular videos. So I can see over time that this is actually a pretty engaging video. There's a couple people that just watched a little bit before they moved on. This is a nice heat map that will help you understand, if there are certain areas of the video that people are watching most or watching twice, or even 5 times or more. So you can get a better understanding of what areas of the actual video are engaging your students the most.
Super, thank you so much. So here I have another hot question for you, which is about assignments. How do we understand if my assignments are too difficult, if they're correlating to my learning activities and how my learners are doing?
Sure. And I think this is one of our recorded videos. There was some information on here that we wanted to just blur out for purposes. So why don't you go ahead and actually start playing that if you could?
Mm-hmm. Give me a moment.
So in order for us to understand if a course we created is too difficult, we need to take a look at our score distribution, our completion rates, and our average score. And we can begin by selecting a course and diving into the overall metrics of that course. So let's take a look at our course's score distribution first. We can find this by scrolling down or using the general menu on the right here to select from the options. Now you'll notice that it looks like there is about 2 users that have scored above a 90% on this particular course. So next, let's take a look at our total completed activities, which can be found also on the right. And I see that out of the completed activities, I have around 16. They've been completed, and the number of completed activities has started to kind of rise over time. So finally, let's take a look at the average assignment score, which shows, which will be coming up here in the recording here. So this is an important number to understand as well. What are the average assignment scores on this course? So this is showing me the average score is about 100%. I can see that over time as well. Now this tells me one thing. I've looked at the scores. I've looked at the completion rate and the score distribution and the average score. They're all very high. So in my mind, this course is actually not too difficult. This course might actually be a little too easy. But that is one way of actually looking into the course and seeing if you start to, if a course is too difficult for your students. If you have a lot of failures and a lot of average scores of 50% or lower, or even the score distribution is just all over the place, your course might be too difficult, and that's where you might want to make some changes.
Excellent, thank you. So always related to this, now maybe I can switch a little bit the topic and move from instructional design to some examples of questions around audience. So for example, how fast are learners progressing? How can I discover this? Which data points should I consider?
Okay. So yeah, there's a couple different data points that you want to consider here. You want to consider your current student distribution, the completions, average time to complete a course, and maybe your total study time. So if you let me share my screen, I will show you that here. So let me go back to, there we go. And I'm just going to jump out of the current one that we're in and go back into the academy here. And let's take a look back in this course, because there's a lot of really great information in here. So the first thing we're going to look at is the student current distribution here. So let's just do student progress distribution. So this actually tells us, and we looked at this before, this will actually tell us where our students are mostly at. So I've noticed, a lot of people will start with that 0 to 10% here. A lot of people moved on to the 11 to 20% completion rate, and so on and so on and so on, until you get to your final completion rate here, the 91 to 100%. So it's good to understand, all right, so a lot of my students are still kind of here as opposed to completing. So let's now look into the total completions for this course. Now, again, I know we looked at this before and it was generally pretty low. So the amount of completing this actual course, because people are cherry picking, shows very low on this graph. Even if I dial this back to about a year, I think it's still kind of a flat line here. And that is really because people aren't completing all the sections. They're just completing the sections that they're most interested in. So the next thing we want to probably take a look at is the average time that it takes to complete a course. And that is also can be found over here on the right. So let's see here, average time to complete a course. Now, obviously, this is very important when you're trying to figure out how fast your users are progressing. I'm going to dial this back to about a year as well. And it looks like the average time is about 677 minutes over the course of a year. You can see that, even some people have close to 4,000. They were probably really studying hard, but you'll notice how quickly this starts to go down over time. So just to give you a good idea of the average time it's taking. And then lastly, I want to see what my total study time is. How long are my users actually studying on the platform here? It looks like really, you hit a couple of different points here, but really the max is about 46 minutes before they move on. So this will indicate how quickly your students are actually starting to, consume the material.
Fantastic. I have then one last question about our audience and how they interact with our courses.
The bottleneck.
Courses, yes,
yes,
the good old bottleneck. Just to clarify, for bottlenecks, I mean when, for example, a particular learning activity is sort of sucking in all your students and then they don't move forward that point.
So yeah, this is common with a lot of courses. You're going to find an area sometimes in a course that has an activity that either it's not engaging with students or it's too difficult for your students. And then all of a sudden you're just going to see a drop off of that student. They've hit a wall, they've hit a bottleneck, and it's slowing your students down. It's slowing down their progress, and it's slowing down their ability to be engaged. So one more time and one last time, sorry, could you share your screen? Let me share my screen. Okay, so let's just go back into our course, different courses we have here. And I'm actually going to jump back into one of these courses. So let's take a look at that bootcamp one as well. So there's a couple of things we want to look at. Again, we want to look at our student distribution. where are our students in regards to completing that course. We're going to want to look at drill back into those learning activities, and we're going to want to take a look at unique views. So this can all be found in the overall metrics and in the activity breakdown. So again, let's check out that student progress. If I can spell, here we go. Now in this particular course, I can see, again, I have a very high starting and it starts to kind of come down here. Now, this is a big jump here. So something happened here to here. So what I might want to do is, I know that the top 11 to 20% of my course is where this bottleneck actually happened. So let's go take a look at the top 11 to 20% of activities and see what exactly happened there. So if we go into our activity breakdown and we take a look at the actual learning activities, so let's say top 20%, I would say, of the course probably happened here. And then we had our top 10% where everyone was most engaged. So if we take a look here, we switched from, it was our first day of boot camp here. And then it looks like we had a couple of recordings here in this one, as well as some audience recordings here as well, and some ebooks. Okay, so where did the drop off happen? It looks really like after the first conversation here, building an audience maybe just was not the content that our audience wanted to see here. So we started to get that drop down. You'll see that the time on learning activities started to drop over time as well. When we got to creating a sales page, again, that was on, oh, it was Monday. So that was Tuesday here. So again, we can look into this information and maybe find that, okay, it wasn't the first 20% here. This is where we started to lose people. And if we go further into this and look at some of the actually unique views here, we can see by activity, again, Zoom is in the way. We can see by activity, the interest actually drop here. Whoops. Go back. We can see the interest actually drop here. So you can see it go down as we go along. So now I can kind of understand by taking a look at this course and that the activities and the drop-off rate and even the unique views, where my bottlenecks might actually exist. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks to you, actually, Brett. That was super, super helpful. Panos, actually, back to you for the next section about turning insights into decisions. We cannot hear you, Panos.
Sorry, guys, I was on mute. So thanks, Sarah and Brett. These are the questions that really plague every entrepreneur, every trainer, every even in-class instructor, every teacher, to be able to have this kind of data at their hands to be able to drive their decisions. So it has been mentioned also in the comments. Yes, this can be combined with qualitative data. In some cases, you might be getting answers and surveys and feedback from your students and reach the same results. What really we can do here with this data and with this report, we can get that from a form of art into a form of science, and give you ready-made templates for decision making and pinpoint the actual data where things happen, either for better or for worse, and be able to double down there and take your decisions. So now let's see how we can take some of these answers that you touched upon on these very, very crucial decision or questions about bottlenecks and progress and how fast or how slow or what are the important or the not important part, and see how we can turn them into actual insights for decisions. So what you actually see here is a little, this is a rubric based on which we can take our decisions. So we have here two axes. The one axis on the horizontal is the completion rate of a course, and the vertical axis is how many or how few sales it generates. So based on this, we will structure our questions so that we can be able to position each and every one of our courses into one of these corners there, one of these quadrants, and be able to take a decision. So this is something, it doesn't happen only at once. This is a constant process. It has to do with how many courses you have, how many students you have, how frequently you change or update your content. So this is something that you might need to do once per month or once per 6 months, or even much faster if you have a large and fast-pacing school. So you should be able to look at your courses, not as a whole, but each one of your courses, or even each one of your learning units within a course, and each one of those quadrants corresponds to a decision that you should take on how to improve a situation, on how to double down on a particular situation. So this is something that you have to structure and adapt to your own situation and to your own online school. So if you're having an online course with high sales and high engagement, that's amazing. You're here in the top right quadrant. This means sell more, create more of these courses, promote this course to all your existing customers, all the people that haven't purchased. So this is the holy grail. This is the amazing combination of great completion rate, which means great content and also great marketing results. This is a great position to be. Likely you're not there yet, or not all your courses are there. Another case is where you have high sales but low completion rate. So this means that you have a very marketing worthy, sales worthy online course that brings in the sale, but the actual content isn't probably worth it, which means that you might not get repeat customers, or you might not get satisfied customers, you might not get great reviews. So this, even if this course right now performs very well, it will probably underperform in the future. So you should think about how you can revamp your instructional design, how you can enrich your content in order to bring into the upper right corner. Another combination is obviously the worst one: low sales, low completion rate. This is a course that probably needs to be retired or designed from scratch, because both the marketing fit, the customer market fit, and the content is not producing the engagement that it wants, that you need. Or a course that produces low sales but it has high completion rates, which in this case you need to revamp your marketing. You need to work more on your marketing, bring the course in front of more students, capitalize on the high completion rates, and try to get more people to come inside. So this is one decision-making, let's say, structure, a rule that can help you grow that can help you get more of your, get more results out of your existing content. So let's see now an example of how we can capitalize on something that goes very well. So here we built again on the four levels of insights that we mentioned before, the descriptive all the way up to the prescriptive. So let's say what has happened. What are the basic things that we get out of a report? Our introductory photography course is booming. Sales and completion rates are satisfactory. So these are some basic numbers that we see. For some people that might be enough for them to be satisfied, but this is not what we're here for. We're here for improving these results and get more results, and expanding our growth. So why did this happen? We see on our data, on our basic reporting, we see that we have many enrollments. So we have some great live sessions that are very well received. People participate in the live sessions. We have lots of attendance. So this is a course that seems to be working quite well. So what could happen? What are the risks going forward? Students may tire of the same content, and then we'll have to find new leads for our school continuously. If the existing customers, which are always much easier to sell to, are not satisfied and are not coming back for more, I will not be able to sell more of my existing courses, or I will not be able to transition into a subscription business model, being able to sell more and more content to the same customer. So I will constantly have to find new things. So what should happen? This is an example of a decision. We should capitalize on the current students' high engagement levels. That's an excellent opportunity to create more advanced courses, provide them a clear upgrade, a clear upsell, both on their knowledge and on the marketing aspect. So upsell and cross-sell to the existing audience. It's always much, much cheaper than trying to get new customers or having to deal with churn of customers that have been bored based on the courses. So this is a success here that can give us a signal, a clear path on how to drive more success, how and when to create more content for our courses. And here's another case, the case where our course, the content of our course wasn't very successful, which means that in this case we might have to redesign the instructional part of our online course. So what has happened? My landscape photography is getting good sales, but 63% of students drop out at chapter 4 and another 17% at chapter number 9. 22 chapters in total. What does this mean? That we've lost about 80% of the students before even reaching the half point. So why did this happen? Courses are hard to follow. We know that. Even the best MOOCs, they are being plagued by high attrition rates, not too much engagement, and video people not staying very long. So are our videos not engaging enough, or are they too long? Sometimes very experienced trainers come to us and say, okay, I have designed 10 60-minute videos. This is obviously impossible for students to follow. Too many learning activities? Is there any bottlenecks that you should be aware of? Brett showed you before how you can identify the bottlenecks and how you can use these dropout numbers, even this funnel that we have designed on the course insights, how you can use these numbers to your benefit and how you can get better results. So students, what could happen in the future? Students not want to sign up for more, won't recommend to your community, might even get a refund. They might come back to you and say, I haven't even completed chapter 4. I haven't even reached 25% of the course, so I want a refund. And this might generate bad publicity and further bad results. So what should happen? What you can do based on this data? You need to keep your students engaged and happy and consuming and wanting more. So you may want to revamp this course. And one thing to do is to either create bite-sized videos that will allow users to progress through your course. It will make it much easier for them to click next, and realize their progression and realize that they're getting somewhere. And or even you could split this course in two. You can have part 1 and part 2, 101 and 201, whatever. This way you can have more products. You can even sell it at the same price or at a different price. You can even allow students to make two different purchases, but don't underestimate how satisfied the user might feel once they complete even half of the course. They get a certificate, they know that they have achieved some progress, so they can drive forward. This is one of the decisions that data can help you reach the right decision, improve your course based on the same content, just repackage it and then get to better results. Here's a different case about a course that we need to retire. A course that is probably very bad and we shouldn't have on our online school. So why not retire it and create a new one? So what has happened here? We have a still life photography course, doesn't sell and has very low completion rate. So this is disappointing both for you and your students. Why did this happen? Students getting stuck at the second lesson and just 1.3 of them proceed after that learning activity. So this is a disaster of an activity. This is something that you absolutely want to remove from your online course and you want to replace, or it shouldn't be there. So students may think that the other courses are like this one, and this creates more damage on the perception that they have about your online school. So they might not even try the other courses. They might ask for refunds. You might get poor reviews, bad satisfaction. So this is something that doesn't pay off and they will create lasting damage to your online school. So what to do here? One option, if you want to keep a high quality school and a great brand reputation and focus on creating something that works, retire your courses. this particular course. Courses are not for forever, so you should be able to get a different decision, retire, create something new, adapt your school, give based on data again, work on something that you know will work much better. So let's move a bit faster. So I'm going to introduce you now to Elisa from our customer support team, who again will show us how you can identify more things about your audience, and how the analytics can help you get more decisions. Again, we will show that actionable in an actionable way using our platform and some live schools. So you will be able to see how you can understand your audience and drive decisions based on that. So Sarah, are you with us? Let's see if we can unlock you. Probably you are on mute, and Elisa here is on mute. Brett, I think you should be able to unlock Sarah and Elisa. Hello, Elisa. Welcome on board.
Hello, everybody. So am I on mute?
No, we can hear you. You're live.
I cannot enable my camera, so I think, again, that one would have to be on you.
I'm not sure I can do it now, but I'm trying.
Sound will still do.
It's okay. Actually, Panos, otherwise we can share directly from your screen. This part is more related to users, and as we were talking about before, like as we see in the scenarios, talking about users and understanding our users is important regardless on which quadrant we fall in. So what we would like to do with Elisa right now is to go through some few more questions, but more focusing on really our customers. So to start with, Elisa, would you like to tell us a little bit more about how to monitor the progress of a specific group of learners?
Yes, and actually, thank you for the question. So this can easily, don't play this yet, just so that we can go through the points a little bit before we jump into the video. Yeah, thank you. So we can do this by segmenting our user base with the filters that we have. So we can narrow this down by, let's say, country, or even a tag that we have assigned to certain users, or even by checking the cohorts using a certain enrollment date on a course. Now, again, we have quite a variety of filters that we can use here, but I feel like these are enough for this type of question. So for now, I think, Panos, you can play the video too, if you like. Okay, so we're at this point where we want to basically monitor the overall progress of a certain group of learners, right? So how we can do that? As you can see, I again headed over to one of our schools, and I'm under the report section and the user segments, where we add the filters to do that. So from here, I can add a few filters. So let's say to my search, I can narrow this down to the group. So I am using the logged in from certain countries filter. And I'm choosing Canada and the United States over here. But again, this is entirely up to you. You can add the country that you want and just further narrow it down. You can even add more countries over here. I've just added one for this example. Next up is that we can further narrow this down by using the tag. So for this, I'm adding and using the customer tag. And that we can actually add the more characteristics to the users and to the learners, which kind of gives you the ability to kind of like have them into a more smaller group and just categorize them basically. So yeah, I'm using this tag for the example. And next up, since we really want them users to be cohorts, I'm also setting up a specific time frame for the enrollment on the course. So for this example, I chose the enrollment dates to be between November 22nd and February 23rd. And I picked this course. Again, you can pick the course of your choice in your own school as well. Right, so from all the above filters, as you can see, if I click right there, you'll see that again, we have an abundance of filters to choose from. And if I click on apply filters, once I'm done, I'll see the results appearing right under. So I have really narrowed down those results. So I'm only getting 2 learners for now, 2 users. But these, of course, will depend on your criteria and your own user base. So as you can see right here, we have 2 learners. We can see that they have where they have enrolled, their total study time, their overall time spent in the platform. You can see how many courses they are enrolled into, and also how many of those they have completed. We can also see if they have any incomplete courses, if they have any courses they haven't even started yet, if they have earned any certificates, or if they have a certain average score. And also if they have made any posts, likes, or comments in the social section of your school. So yeah, all of this information is available right here. Now, if you'd like, you can even have this information locally, so you can export this info if you'd like, and just really use them as you wish. So yeah, this is how you would get this type of information regarding the overall progress. So if you'd like, you can move on to the next question.
Yeah. So for the next question, we have which learner have a risk of dropping out, which is slightly different from the questions that we had before. But since we're running a little bit out of time, maybe we can jump right in into the marketing questions, which are after that. So we can look at this quickly. So yeah, we just have at-risk learners. There's a filter for that too. And then if we look at the next question, we can jump right into this one. So let's talk a little bit about marketing. Which marketing campaigns bring the best results? Like, how would you describe this? How do we find these learners?
All right, so again, an excellent question. So we ran a marketing campaign and we want to see and determine exactly how successful that one was, and if it was even, right? So we can do that by seeing the enrollments after somebody clicked and used that campaign. And of course, you can also see high completion rate regarding that campaign. So how many learners actually completed the courses that they enrolled into, right? So basically a good campaign brings also good quality leads. So that would mean users that actually like your content and your courses and they actually complete them. So again, Panos, if you'd like, you can move over to the video. Again, these are pre-recorded ones just so that we can blur out any sensitive information. Okay, so we are now, again, assuming that we just run a marketing campaign and we want to see how successful a campaign was, right? So of course, we're able to do these from the section right here. All we need to do is, in the filter section, is add the filter that says last click campaign is. And then, of course, choose the campaign. So this will allow us to specify what campaign we wish to have the results for. I'm currently, of course, using this one. We also have an option for first click campaign if you want to use that one. But I want to see which the last one was for them. So I'm clicking on my campaign. Then I really want to see how successful that campaign was by seeing how many courses the users enrolled during that campaign. So I want to filter this by users that have enrolled from 1 or 2 or even more courses into that campaign. So that I have, so that, you know, have enrolled into more than 1 courses using this campaign. And I'm also adding another filter that actually shows how many courses they have completed, because not only do I want to attract new prospects and new customers with the campaign, but I also want them to be quality users and quality learners. So I want them to have a high completion rate, right? So with this, I'm seeing which ones of those learners actually succeeded in more than 1 courses. So I'm doing this combination of filters right here. All of them are presented right here, and clicking on, once I choose them, I need to click on apply filters again. And I have 2 learners once more that fill in my criteria, the above criteria. It will give me an overview and a look to see what those learners are successful in this campaign. So again, this kind of information will help us a lot with future and upcoming campaigns, as we will be able to identify and see which campaigns were successful and try to pinpoint the why and how in order to reproduce this for future marketing campaigns that we're going to run. So yeah, using this filter, this is what we're going to get from this combination, of course. And again, we're able to export this and just keep this in mind and further analyze this for future marketing campaigns that we're going to run.
Fantastic. So real quick, next question. Since we're always talking about marketing and we want to get maybe to involve a little bit more our clients as well, how would I select like the right contact for writing a review, for example?
Yes, excellent question as well. Okay, Panos, again, if you'd like, you can also play this video too. All right, so we are now at the stage where we may need feedback from our learners. So in this scenario, we would have to contact them either for perhaps their testimonial or even for them to leave us a review, right? So in order to do that, we're going to have to be very careful onto what users we're going to target. So these will have to be users that are completely satisfied with our products and that are successful users, so successful in our program and whatever our courses is and our campaigns are. So of course, we also want to have learners that are social and really willing to comment and perhaps make a post or a review for you. So let's see what kind of criteria we can use right here. So again, we can use the completion rate because, like I said, we want these to be users that have completed most of your courses or most of the courses that they are enrolled in. So let's say again that we have this filter right here, and we can see an average score in all of the courses. Sorry, again, we can see the completion rate between and see how many successful courses they had. And of course, we can see the other filter right below where we can see an average score in all of the courses. And I'm also using a filter between 2 and 100 right here for the courses. But again, this is entirely up to you. You can set it up to however you want it to be. So from this, I will narrow down the users that are social and more willing to actually create reviews for you. So those are users that are utilizing social communities. So for this example right here, I'm also using users that have posted between perhaps 1 or 10 comments. Again, that's entirely up to you how you're going to set it up. And finally, again, I have 2 users that are quite pleased with your products and they're actually involved in more than 1 courses. Again, I set it to more than 1 right here. You can set it up to an exact number or less or between. That's again entirely up to you. So once I clicked on apply, these are the users that I'm getting. So basically, I'm free to use this list of users. Again, I can export this and use this whenever I want to. So I can choose to contact these learners and basically ask for them to give me a feedback or a review or whatever the request is going to be.
Fantastic. Last question for you, Lisa. And this is going to be more for our viewers from either an HR or learning and development background. There is the classical question. I need to include a record for the board and for my managers and so on. So what should we include? What would you advise?
All right, so before we actually jump into this video, again, this is a very good question as we are usually in this position. So the first thing I would include is a user segment. So basically this is what we've been doing so far, where you create a set combination of filters, but what the platform actually allows you to do is save this very combination of filters into a segment. And you can also set this up so this report is automatically sent out to your HR or really whoever your target will be. So my first option would be this segment. Next up, we can include completion rates, assessment and results, and even any certificates if they earned them. So Panos, if you'd like, you can also start playing this video.
Yep.
All right, so finally, just to...
Sorry, this is the wrong video. We want to move forward.
Okay.
Yeah, the next again.
The next one, it's
the purple one.
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's the one.
Here we go. Thank you.
All right. So finally, to conclude, we are getting to know, well, you're getting to know your audience. So let's say that we need the report, right, for the board or the HR. What is that? What are those users perhaps that we need to include, right? So like I said, we can add the segment. In this example, I'm simply just adding the field Eliza into the names of those users. So I'm just narrowing down to users having that name. Then I am choosing to see what courses those users have completed, the completion rate. Again, I have set this to a time frame, to 0 to 2 to 3 courses. Again, this is entirely up to you. The next filter I'm using is the assignments, tests, or certificates, just to see what kind of activities they have sent out. So if they have sent between, if they've set any tests, certificates, or assignments between February 1st and today. And right next to that one, I have specified the course. So I've used that one. Again, this is going to be totally different in your school. And finally, I've set it to how many certificates those users have acquired. So again, I have set a broad spectrum from 0 to 2, but again, this is completely entirely up to you. And of course, you can find a lot more filters in the add filter section right there. So that's where I got all of mine, and just simply click on save on the segment if you wish to save this. All right, so once we select the filters, again, all we need to do is just apply on filters, and we'll find the results right under as we have in the previous examples as well. So yeah, this is how we can do this again. Once more, you are able to also export this and just send these over to your HR or your board meeting for a further analysis.
Fantastic. We're all set at that point. I'm actually done with my questions to Brett and to Elisa today, so I will hand back over to Panos. And
yes, thank you, ladies, for the questions and the answers and the live show.